Hi there, my name is Arya Makhsoodi. My ID number is 124935. Today I'll be talking about public service broadcasting and commercial broadcasting. For my public service broadcasting, I chose BBC. So the first question which says, who owns the channel? Well, who owns it is the founder of BBC, which is John Reith. But the ownership of BBC is under the Royal Charter and Licence, which is a constitutional basis for the BBC, and it sets out the public purposes of the BBC, and it guarantees its independence and outlines the duties of the trust and the like of the executive board. Where do they get the money from? Well, the funding is specialised with the licence fee, and the users of BBC have a mandatory plan of paying an annual fee of £145 a year, which from this revenue fee, they cover the funding programmings. Where from this, BBC makes 3.7 billion per year, and there's another way that the BBC makes money, which is from the commercial arm called the BBC Worldwide. What it does is that it sells various products internationally and domestically, which it includes programming overseas. Moreover, as well as collecting the license fee, they also make money from the commercial arm. BBC Worldwide, which sells DVDs and magazines and also markets BBC programs around the world. Like, let's say, for example, Doctor Who is shown by TV stations in over 40 countries worldwide. Furthermore, according to BBC's 2013-14 annual report, its total income was 5 billion, which, it can be broken down as number 1, 3.726 billion in license fees collected from householders. Number 2, 1.023 billion from the BBC's commercial business. 3, 244.6 million from government grants, of which 238.5 million is from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office for the BBC's World Service. 4, 72.1 million from other income such as rental collections and royalties from overseas broadcasts of programming. So now let's jump to slide 2. The brands that the company owns. The answer to that question is the brands that the BBC owns are Radio 1, BBC 1, BBC 2, BBC 3, BBC 4, CBBC, and CBeebies. Where BBC 1 is responsible to be the BBC's most popular mixed genre TV server. BBC 2 is responsible to be a mixed genre channel appealing to a broad adult target audiences. BBC 3 is responsible to bring younger audiences to high quality broadcasting through a mixed genre schedule of innovative UK content featuring new UK talent. BBC 4's primary role is to reflect a range of UK and international arts, music and culture. CBBC is responsible to provide high quality content for 6 to 12 years old. CBeebies responsible for high quality, mostly UK produced content for BBC's youngest target audiences. So the next question, is it a public service channel, and if so, what does it mean? Well, yes it is, and it means that the principles of its primary mission is to provide radio, television and other electronic outlets to the public. Well, this channel is the world's leading public service broadcaster, as you know. Its mission is to enrich people's lives with programs that inform, educate and entertain. So now let's go to slide 3. What other countries is the company presenting? It's presented more than 200 countries and territories worldwide, which in around 300 million are in households and 1.8 million in hotel rooms. In some countries, public broadcasting is run by a single organization. Other countries have multiple public broadcasting organizations operating regionally or in different languages. Who makes programs for the channel broadcaster? Well, the content that the audiences see on BBC's television screens, listen on the BBC's radio services, and use online comes from a variety of sources. The BBC makes much of its own content, which are known as in-house production, and as well as commissioning content from independent producers. So for commercial broadcast channel, I chose ITV. Who owns the channel? The answer to that is it's not who. It's few different corporate companies that own ITV. For instance, we have UTV PLC and the STV Group. And where do they get their money from? Mostly ITV makes their money from advertising and program sponsorships. Furthermore, they sell advertising spaces to companies. And it has been agreed that ITV are to be allowed to use product placement advertising, which, this means advertisers can pay to simply break into a program whenever they want to and show an advert. Let's say, for example, we were watching a very tense scene on a film, like soap or play, or if we were watching a music video, the advertiser can simply stop the scene or video midstream and insert an advert without any warning. Well, they do this on some US stations back in the States, and in my opinion, it's a despicable way of advertising. So now let's jump to slide 2, where it says, what other countries is the company presenting? The presentable networking broadcasts in England, Wales, Southern Scotland, the Isle of Man, the Channel Islands, and Northern Ireland. Who makes programs for the channel broadcaster? The answer to the question is there were dozens of franchisees that did broadcast the shows on ITV, whereas the producers of Talk Back Thames, Thames Television, The Bill, The X Factor, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire were in for commissioning the productions onto ITV. Moreover, ITV's strong daytime programs were so much of a help when shows such as This Morning, Loose Women, Dickinson's Real Deal, and game shows Tipping Point and The Chase were very popular, achieving the highest audience share during the daytime slot. So now let's get to slide 3. Well, the brands that ITV own are the following below: ITV Anglia, ITV Central, ITV Granada, ITV Wales and West, formerly HTV, including its former subsidiary Harvest Entertainment, ITV London, Carlton Television and London Week Television, ITV Meridian and ITV Time Tees. To the next question, is it a public service channel, and if so, what does it mean? No, it's not a public service channel because it's a commercial broadcast channel, which that means commercially what it does is broadcasts television programs and radio, where this means they operate the largest commercial family channels in the UK, and they deliver the content through traditional television broadcasting, where ITV commercial broadcasting is a wide variety of content on its family free-to-air channels, which that hits the most. Well, thank you for listening to my presentation, and that's it.